Hey guys, what's up? My name is Jeff. I'm the lead instructor at Jigsaw Labs. In this lesson, we're going to be going through an introduction to Docker. And before we dive into working with Docker, I always like to explain, why do we care about this technology in the first place? So let's start with an example. This is a really cool piece of software that's available to anyone for free. It's called Ghost. And Ghost is a great blogging platform that anyone can use. But to use something like Ghost, as you might imagine, it requires a bit of know-how in terms of how to download and set up this blogging platform. So for example, for a platform like Ghost, we may need probably some sort of backend framework. So that I don't know what it's written in exactly, but maybe that involves Python and then Flask. So we would have to download Python and Flask potentially somehow on our computer. It has like fancy front-end technologies as well, so it probably involves Node, maybe React to get the front-end components to work. And remember, this is a blogging platform, so that means that we want to save, and Ghost probably has some technology. In fact, I know it does have some technology for saving your blog posts, and that way other people can then click on it and see what you wrote. And so that involves a database that then you need to set up. So in Ghost's example, I think it's SQLite 3. So the point is that, yes, this technology is available to us. But in order to start using it, there are these prerequisites that we first need on our computer. And everyone who wants to use Ghost is going to need these exact same prerequisites and is going to need to go through the steps of downloading it. Whenever we're doing these repeated tasks again and again, or users are repeatedly having to go through the same steps, this is a really great opportunity to use software, right? To use developers, their know-how, to automate these tasks. So what Docker does is Docker focuses on automating the setup of the development, or really any environment, right? Not just development, but as we'll see, production environment as well. So for something that if you're a hobbyist in coding, have likely felt in your own life, is just simply, getting started with a new technology. All of the setup, all of the time, all of the knowledge that's required simply to do something like that, right? Docker is designed to automate that for you. Here's one reason why Docker has really taken off, and that's because of the modern development workflow. What happens is when you're coding, you're first working just on your laptop, on your local computer. But the user, if you're building a website, they're not directly going to access code from your local computer. Instead, what happens is you'll be coding, you'll be building some sort of website, and believe that it works. And then when you feel confident that everything's good, hopefully you've written some tests, then you push your code into AWS, Google Cloud, some sort of cloud service provider, right? This way, when the user is ready to go to your website, they're not going to go directly to your laptop. Instead, your code now lives in production, or a copy of the code lives in production on AWS, and they visit AWS's computer. And then AWS sends them back. Really, it's a string of HTML in the case of a website. Now, why do we need Docker for something like this? Well, when we're confirming that something works in development, it would be a real pain if everything looks like it works on our computer, but then it does not work on Amazon's computer. And one way that something can go wrong is if the environmental setup between our computer and Amazon's computer is a little bit different. That's what Docker's for, right? Docker is a mechanism to automate our environmental setup. And you can start to now see the use cases for it. So one is simply, when we want to download a new piece of software and just play around with it, like Ghost. Another one is really in the modern development workflow, where you're working locally on your computer, and then you want to be confident that exactly the same code, exactly the same environmental setup that works locally on your laptop is also going to work when you move it over to Amazon. And lots of times, if you're not super precise and if you're not using something like Docker, there can be a difference. And it works perfectly on your computer, but it does not work on Amazon.